host, Jennifer, as always. So it's gotta be Tuesday. We are doing Bates Motel Season 1, Episode 3. So we are definitely getting more in depth into this series and everything. And it's only third episode. A lot more things to be talked about, going on and everything. So basically, let's start off with the whole kind of discovery of between Norman and Olivia Cooke's character. They discovered kind of towards the end of the previous episode that it looked like there was some sort of like sex trafficking or some sort of like kidnapping for sex type of thing going on. We discovered that there was pretty much like a Chinese sex trafficking operation going on at the Bates Motel with the previous owner. And I feel like this is a little bit of a nod to the second Psycho. Like, I know the guy, Toomey in the second Psycho movie, I know he was kind of more of like operating the motel more like a trashy, pay by the hour type of motel. But instead of kind of doing that for the series, I feel like they're kind of like, hey, let's make it a little more juicy, let's make it a little more meaty and everything. What's going to make more sense? Let's have this Chinese sex trafficking slave operation. Because they actually did find this, like, journal and everything, which Norman kept, and he actually kept the belt from the previous owner after him and Norma dumped the body in the first episode. Why would you keep that stuff? I don't know, but then again, we know that Norman is a little messed up in the head. But whatever. So, we know that kind of was going on. They actually did discover, like, the, like, burial ground, or, like, the cave or whatever, that they would take these deceased young women to and everything to kind of bury the bodies. Meantime, Norman actually ends up having sort of is like pretty much faints or blacks out basically. Kind of sort of also a little bit of a nod towards the movie series. I know it wasn't so much of like the it wasn't so much like blackouts. We will get to blackouts later. Even a little bit in this one. I feel like in episode 2 and 3 here, we get little moments of that, but it's not really fully discussed yet, as it will be in future episodes. But this definitely, I feel like, kind of kickstarts the momentum for that to tie in with like the movie series, because I know a couple of the movies, specifically, I feel like more number 2, where Norman would have, like, blackouts and stuff, and all this, and not really knowing, like, what happened or anything. So yeah. Meanwhile, Norman's half-brother, started working and everything, and what do you know, we found out that this is a pot town. I think I brought that up in the previous video. If I haven't, the main source of income for this town, after it no longer was a logging town, I figured, hey, there's a crap ton of pot over here, like $5 million worth. We're just gonna kind of make that the, like, little town financial money-making source of revenue for this town, basically. So, which kind of makes sense, just saying, in this messed up town. So he basically, what his job entails and what, like, this group of guys' jobs pretty much entail is not really, like, picking the marijuana plants or anything. It basically is to just sit there for, like, 12 hours a day, getting paid $300 a day to make sure no one comes in and, disturbs the crop or steal any of the crop or anything, because like I said, that's a lot of pot. Like, $5 million worth. Like, I'm thinking, like, me thinking about that's gotta be from, like, my house to, like, work, which is like 2 miles down the road. Like, that's how much pot I'm thinking. I don't even know because I don't know about that shit. I have no idea, but to me, that's like an insane amount of freaking pot. Just say it. So we kind of know what he's doing. It's illegal, but hey, he's like, you know what? It's quick money, getting paid in cash and stuff. I get to have a gun and stuff. So yeah, and we definitely do see a little bit more of the relationship between Norman and his brother. I mean, obviously we can tell they do not get along, and the brother definitely kind of sees, okay, there's something not really right with Normal or Norman, I should say, and, he sees that, and it's just like, what is wrong with you two? It's just kind of, like, it's weird relationship and everything, um, and then, we do see Bradley again in this episode. She actually comes to visit Norman in the hospital after he fainted at school. And actually, I should mention this. So when Norman fainted at school, he was in English class or whatever, and his teacher's kind of like asking him like if he's okay. She feels that he's burning up, and he is having these flashes, basically due to the notebook that he had discovered under the carpet in one of the rooms, the one about the sex trafficking. He's literally having flashes of his English teacher being tied up and gagged and everything in very similar fashions to the drawings that were etched in this book and everything. So obviously that's how he faints, goes to the hospital, and while he's there, Bradley comes and is like, oh, I came because you're the only one who came to visit me when my dad first got into the hospital and everything, and, I just wanted to return the favor because, that's just really nice of you. We definitely feel like with Bradley in this one, she's not quite your stereotypical, like blonde, dumb bimbo at all. You definitely start to get the sense like there's something about her, there's something in her life that is just not quite right. Like she's not quite like your typical teenager, kind of like bouncy, happy. And she even does kind of say like, oh, I just want to be happy. And you're kind of like, it would be a bummer too. I mean, I'd be pretty bummed out if my dad was torched and stuff too, and is probably not gonna make it. And was also in a medically induced coma. I probably really wouldn't be all cheery either, but you feel like there is something a little bit more than that with her, which we will see like in later episodes and everything. So yeah, little things like that. And then while Norman is in the hospital, Norma gets a phone call from the carpet guys that are supposed to install the new carpet. She races home while she's meeting with them. What do you know? The cops show up with a search warrant because the one guy is still hung up and he's like, you gotta know what happened to my buddy, dude. You gotta know what happened to the former owner here. That was my buddy. What's going on? They search the house, and lo and behold, they found the belts. The belt from the night that they killed the former owner. Norma finds this out because she kind of pursues one of the police officers. It's like, hey, like all this stuff is going on, and it's like, I can't have you guys just barging in for nothing. It's trying to really play it off like she has no clue about what happened to this guy. It's really trying to just be like, hey, like, look, I'm just trying to start up this motel. I literally put everything that I have into this motel. Like I'm just trying to start a business, and I really can't do that if you guys are coming in. Like I'm not going to get a good reputation. I'm not going to be able to like make it. I'm not going to be able to survive if you guys keep coming in like this. So, he's kind of like, here, come back, while I'm off duty, when I'm off duty, and we'll talk and everything, because I think there's some stuff you should know. And they're talking and everything later on, and he admits, he's like, yeah, we found the belt in your son's room and everything. And she's kind of like, what? You did? Huh? What? So she tells Norman, like, hey, they found the belt. What were you doing? Why would you keep that? And really, you kind of see Norman, like, part of it, I feel like, while he's explaining, like, oh, I don't know why I have it. I don't know, a memento. Like, you almost feel like, with as intelligent as he is, he's also not, like, I guess, emotionally mature yet. He's, some of his answers, or, like, some of the times that he's interacted with Norma, you get kind of a sense that he's not quite emotionally developed to, like, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old. It seems like he's a little behind on that, which is probably not a good mix if you're very intelligent mixed with a very kind of lower emotional IQ. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of these different things going on, a lot of things that are coming up right off the bat, like I said in the last video, in these first few episodes. And then to end the episode off, Norman, actually too, before we get to that, I know, we have kind of another one of our, sort of hallucinations. First kind of actual hallucination, like, besides from him having flashes of his teacher being tied up and gagged. He kind of thinks he sees his mom sit down with him on his bed and is like, you know what you have to do. You know what you have to do. So kind of, going to the reference of, like, the movies of, like, his mom kind of, like, getting in his head and controlling him, kind of, like, hence why he would later on in life dress up as his mother, kind of explaining a little bit of that in the movies or for the movies. So there's that. And then, end of the episode, Norman, takes the advice of his hallucination of his mother, goes to one of the cops' house just to do a little investigating, like, hey, we're gonna kind of prove something on them, like, whatever. Come to find out that this Chinese sex trafficking ring exploitation whatever is still going on, because there is a Chinese, an Asian woman in the basement of this guy's house and everything. And it's like, what? So that is our season 1, episode 3 of Bates Motel. Like you guys, this, like, for those of you who have not seen this movie, like, yeah, this is definitely, it's not a slow burn type of series. It gets into things pretty quickly. So tune in next week for episode 4 of season 1. Till then, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.